Hello, Maria. So you said hello. I'm doing transplants from aloes to edible flowers. I have more to do getting excited about summer seeds. Very nice, Maria. Sounds good. Gonna wait a minute while everything finishes loading up and people load in. Let's see who else is here. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you. Let's see here. Trying to get my tablet set up so that I can use it to chat while we're doing this, but my tablet is not being my friend, let me tell you. There we go. Okay. Let's see. 6 of you in here so far. So we've got Maria, we've got Sandy. Probably got a family member or two in here. Hey, Sherry. Good to see ya. Welcome, welcome. Man, I tell you, I've got so many lizards out here right now. They are just going nuts today. I'll have to show you all what's going on out here in the garden. Actually, I'll start off with the herb spiral, which is right behind me. Ooh. Let's take a look at that. I'm telling you, even since last week, this nasturtium here is just going absolutely crazy. Look at this thing. It's gonna come all the way down to the ground here. Can't believe how full it is. It is getting a little bit, I think, some sun damage on here. You know, the one bad thing about this nasturtium is we are getting out of the season for this, but it seems to be happy right now. We'll keep this going as long as we can. As I mentioned in previous weeks, we had some borage that came up on its own. We've got some more over here. This just came up from seed. It is kind of smothering the lemon thyme under here, so I'm probably going to come in and trim this back. In fact, I'll probably just cut this side of it off. Eventually, this is going to get too big. It's going to get pretty tall in here. So I'll cut the whole thing out, and I'll toss it over there in the compost pile. Same thing with this one here. This is really too much for this little herb spiral, but it's all right. The cilantro, unfortunately, this cilantro started bolting as well. As you can see, it bolted extremely quickly. That one is even further along, and I'll show you what this one looks like here. This one has already gone to flower, but of course I am leaving it in here because there's been a bunch of hoverflies coming in to visit this, which has been very, speak of the devil, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this guy. I'm going to get as close as I can. I don't know if you can see this on your screen. Ooh, he's moving around. Let's see. Oh, I think I lost him. Oh, there he is. Right around where my finger is. He didn't like that one. Oh, there's a bunch of them. I don't know. Can you guys see those hoverflies? Oh, one just landed on the... oh, wait a second. This is... yeah, there it is. There we go. Let's zoom in on this. There you are. Yep. Well, you saw them. The goal of having the hoverflies in here is for them to reproduce and to lay their eggs, because hoverfly eggs, the larvae of the hoverflies will eat aphids, they'll eat spider mites, they'll eat all kinds of pest insects. So I saw those 2 hoverflies over there. They were not attacking each other, but we'll leave them alone. And let's take a quick look at the flowers over here as well. Take a look and see. These dahlias are just absolutely going bonkers. Tons of flowers coming out on here. Everything is getting almost too big. Funny thing, this dahlia evidently had a second plant behind it. So now we've got 2 colors in there. And this one was also 2 colors. So we've got a nice small pink dahlia and this beautiful orange burst one. We've got a nice light red and a very dark red dahlia, although this one, that's already done. These are just starting out here, looking beautiful. Hello, Yolanda, how are you doing? Good to have you here. Oh, and hello, Diane. I'm not sure if I said hello to you yet. I'm sorry. I responded to what you said, but I don't think I said hello. How rude of me. Now, funny story. This dahlia right here had a native bee in it for almost 24 hours. There was a bee that came in here, and for a second I almost thought it was dead. Now, a lot of native bees, because they're solitary bees, if you ever find them in the center of a flower, when they run out of energy or if they get sleepy, they go into something called torpor. So if you ever see a flower like these dahlias and you notice a weird looking bee just kind of hanging out in the middle of the flower, that's torpor. There's nothing wrong with that bee. I actually got some really nice recordings of the bee that I saw in here. It was a native, I think it's called the native longhorn bee, if I remember correctly. It's not here today, but I'll be sharing that video actually in a couple of weeks. I have a whole series of videos that are going to be coming out over the course of the next month and a half. Hello, Miriam. Hello. Yolanda says, doing okay, showing you cut out and never came back. Hope that happened again. Yeah, I apologize for that, Yolanda. There was some funky issues going on, and while I would have started back up, we only had about 8 minutes left, and I said, you know what, it's not going to be worth it. I said it's going to take me 10 minutes to get the link sent back out to everybody. So if that happens again, if it happens early on, I'll get those links sent out and we'll get started back up. But if we only have a couple of minutes left and it drops off, just pretend like I said goodbye. But we're going to hope that that doesn't happen today. Now, last week, we talked about the aphids that I had on the plum. Funny story, I walked over to the plum and I said, look, there's no aphids. But come over to this piece over here, and by golly, there are a lot of aphids. So the aphids are still here. As a matter of fact, there's actually some ants on here. I'll get as close as I can so you can see. These ants have a beneficial relationship, a mutualistic relationship with the aphids, where the aphids actually supply food to the ants, and the ants will actually protect the aphids from predators. So if I release my green lacewing larva in here, these ants will actually destroy the eggs or kill the larva to prevent them from eating the aphids. So before I can release any green lacewing larva in here, I need to stop the ants from getting into the tree. So I've gone ahead and I've ordered a product that's very similar to Tanglefoot. It's a tape that you use that you wrap around the tree, and it's got the sticky stuff on it that makes it so ants can't walk up and down the tree. And what's going to happen is the ants up in the top of the tree are going to be stuck there, and the ones down below won't be able to get up. And that's going to bring the ant population down, and then we can work on getting rid of these aphids. Of course, I could also just come in here and spray with a little bit of water, but this new growth is pretty delicate. I want to be careful in here. Again, for those of you who are just showing up, lots and lots of aphids. Look at that. Woohoo! They like to get up onto the tips of plants like this. This is very common when you have very young plants, like this very young plum that was just planted about a month or, oh, I guess maybe a month and a half ago now. Same thing happens a lot of times with plants like white sage. And in fact, we've got a white sage right over here. Why don't I peek over at this and see if any of the new growth has any aphids on it? I don't think so. This one's been doing pretty good. But you can get aphids up in the top of the plant in the new growth. But I do have an ant in here. There's an ant running around on this, so that's an indication. There he goes. Could be an indication that there might be some aphids around here, or they could just be scouting. There's one right there. So very good chance that this this ant is either protecting aphids or it's looking for aphids on this plant so that it can ranch them. Let's see here. Good questions in the chat, so let me answer these really quick. So the first question is lavender good with sweet potatoes, melons, or cantaloupe? Lavender is a good plant to have around all of these, actually. I wouldn't have the lavender right next to these plants. It's going to require a little bit less water than a lot of the plants that you mentioned there, but it will attract pollinators, and so lavender is good to have near really any of those fruits or vegetables. Or I shouldn't say vegetables, really, specifically fruits, because of course we want the pollinators there to pollinate the flowers so that we can get our melons and our tomatoes and our zucchinis and all of those wonderful things. Yolanda asks, are you going to have a water feature in your parents' garden, something that will invite birds to the garden? So right now, my parents have a bird bath over here. And it's small, but they do get a lot of birds that come in here. Right now, this is the only bird bath that we have in here. But once these trees have grown in and that corner is shaded a little bit more, I'm thinking about putting in another bird bath, if I can convince my parents that that's okay. I think that another little bird bath would actually be really nice right around in here in this corner. Maybe right about here, because this will be a shaded area. The only problem with the bird bath over on that side is it gets a lot of sun, and so on hot summer days, it can dry out rather quickly. Water evaporates out, and of course that water gets really hot too. And of course we want to not give the birds hot water. All right, now let's take a look and see what I have to show you today. Got quite a lot to look at today, actually. Now, last week, I talked about coming in and pruning up the plants in the Hugelkultur bed. Now, funny thing, last week, remember I said the tomatoes were up to this bar? And I said, I bet they'll be at the top of the cage by next week, and look at that. Did I call it or did I call it? All the way up to the top of the cage. Now, of course, these tomatoes down on the west end were the ones that were stunted, and they're not doing as good. They're a little bit behind, but I mean, look at how lush and green and thick these stems have gotten. I'm glad I didn't take these out because they are doing beautifully. Matter of fact, I can come down here and see if I can spot. Here's a purple Cherokee tomato right here, just getting started. We also have a black star. Let's see if I can find, oh, there it is. Let's get the phone in here. There you go. So that's a black star tomato right there. Oop, lots of critters flying around. That's funny, I just tapped this and a bunch of stuff flew up off of it. One of the nice things about alyssum is a lot of insects love alyssum, including a lot of beneficial insects. So this is great to attract all kinds of beneficial things into your yard. Now, these tomatoes over here are just absolutely insane. You can see all of the clusters of flowers that we have all over the place. I mean, these are just totally covered in flowers going all the way down. And we get down to the bottom, you can see the cherry tomatoes are coming in very nicely. We've got several clusters of cherry tomatoes in here, up here, over here. And we also have Juliet tomatoes. And so these are the Juliets in here. They're more of a grape tomato. Here's another cluster right here. There we go. And there's another one that's even bigger down here on the bottom somewhere, but I can't find it now. I think that it's buried in this mass of leaves. It's one of the problems when you let your tomatoes go crazy, like I've done with these, is that sometimes you start losing tomatoes in the mess. Even more flowers over here. You can see they're just all over the place. And the pollinators have been out here in force. This has been a mess of bees. I mean, I can't tell you how many bees we've had on here of course, we're heading into the evening now, and not seeing many bees out here right now. In fact, I don't think I see any bees left. Yeah. Oh, there's a lizard. Why, hello. Oh, there's one. Oh, a couple of bees over here. There we go. Yeah, so I got some really nice videos of the bees that I'm going to be sharing as well. I'm doing a video series on the Hugelkultur bed. I've decided that it's going to be several chapters talking about how the bed was put together. We're going to go over how I laid these blocks, the whole process of stacking the logs and the sticks, the leaves, the soil, the mycorrhizal fungus, and the beneficial bacteria. We'll also talk about the wood chips and the wine cap mushrooms that I've put in here, the worm bins. We're going to go through it all. Planning on 4 or 5 chapters in this series, so it's actually going to be a whole bunch of videos that we'll do on this. Let's see here. Now I'm going to turn this back around, and as promised, today I'm going to do a little bit of pruning in here. In fact, this is perfect. Oh, I guess a bee came back. Oops. Now, good thing though, hopefully there won't be too many bees in here since I'm going to be doing some trimming. So let's get this set up right here. Right about there will be good, I guess. So first things first, let me put some gloves on. And Diane, funny story, since you asked about the worms. The worms, actually there's no worms left in the worm bin. There were holes leading out into the Hugelkultur. Now the bottom of the worm bin is actually down inside the Hugelkultur layer. And so the worms are still in there. They're just not hanging out in the bins anymore. The thing, the Hugelkultur layer has a whole bunch of leaves. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in it that the worms like. And so I imagine they went in there just to start munching on all of that stuff. I know eventually they're going to come back into the worm bins once they run out of food down there. But right now I think they're just living their best life down in the bin. Now, actually, give me 1 second. I'm going to grab my tablet so that I can keep chatting with you all while I work. Maybe you can see me back here. I don't know. Nope. Looks like my tablet is frozen. My tablet is not going to help us today, so off goes the tablet, I guess. Oh well. I'll just come over here to hang out with you guys every once in a while. I'll check to see if you have any questions. Now, I think this is a good angle here. Now, what I want to do is I want to start cutting back this holy basil or this tulsi. Now, I love this plant, and I really hate to cut it back at all because it's just so beautiful, but it's encroaching on a lot of plants here. And I want to make sure that I have some space between the tulsi and our shallots and the tomato here because I need air to be able to flow through this area. So I'm going to start off over here. I'm just going to come in here and gently cut some of this back. And let's see. Oh my goodness, there is so much. This is even crazier than I thought in here. Goodness, I want to start on the outside edge here. And I'm going to cut off a little bit at a time. We'll pull it out like so. And just pile it up here for now. Of course, we've got some bees in here, and I want to be careful. I don't want to aggravate them. We might have a live bee sting today. We'll see. Now, that pretty well took care of this already. You can see I cut off a bunch of the long stems heading off here towards the tomato plant. And I think I'll cut off this piece over here too, just a little bit here. Don't want to do too much, but I want to cut this back off of the shallot over here as well. Now this is going to fluff right back out. In fact, this is going to end up spilling right back onto the tomato, probably within the next day or two. Now down here we actually have some carrots, and that's another reason why I need to make some space in here, is because the carrots are getting crowded out and they need light. Now all of this mass is good for compost. I could probably use some of this in the worm bin, although I don't know if the worms like to eat tulsi or holy basil or not, so I think I'll probably use that in the compost. Of course, it's also an edible plant, but I am not going to be using that much. Now, let's see if there's any questions in the chat here. Yes, actually, I have used the tulsi. I've actually eaten it. Oh, hey, we've got an interesting insect here. Let me pull this off. Oh, it's flying away. What do we got here? Let's see. I'm going to see if I can get this to focus in. There you go. Check out what we've got. Now, I am not entirely sure what this is. It's not a cicada. Huh. Very interesting insect. I'm not sure if that flew out of the bed here, if it was flying towards the bed. It just kind of popped up. But anyway, sorry. Interesting. I've been seeing a lot of very interesting insects in here. And actually, I've been coming out here with my macro lens to record them. If I wasn't doing this... Oh, tree cricket, huh? We got the answer from my dad. It's a tree cricket. Not something that I see very much of. I know I've seen those around before, but not something I'm super familiar with. Okay, now I'm going to lower the camera here a little bit because now that we've got a little bit of space over here, I've cut back the tulsi through here. We've got some space going straight through. I want to come in and I want to start opening up the bottom of the tomato plant here. In fact, let me pull it back just a little bit more here. Now, I don't want to cut a whole bunch off of the bottom here, especially since this tomato hasn't grown up that much yet, but I want some airflow through the bottom of the plant. So I want to start coming down to the leaves that are leaning down close to the ground. So here I've got one leaning down. We'll cut this back to the closest joint. Now, this is a branch here that's not going to produce any fruit. I can take that off. I got a piece in here I can take out. Let's see. This piece down here looks like it can come out. Take that out of there. Again, my main goal here is just to open this up down here so that air is able to flow underneath the plant. And as this plant continues to grow up and get taller, I'll come in and I'll raise the bottom again. Of course, if I get any tomatoes down low, I'll let those tomatoes come out before I cut anything back in there. But just keep trimming this back here. Let's see, I've got a branch down here that I can take out. This one's actually leaning all the way down on the ground. We don't want that. We don't want any of the branches actually physically touching the ground in here. Now, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing back here. Hopefully you can. Let's see. In fact, I can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to have to go to the other side here now. Let me turn this just a little bit and pull it in. There. Now, let me come in from this other side because I need to take some of these off. So I've got a branch over on this side that's all the way down on the ground. See if I can do this without damaging the other plants. Jeez. Here's a branch that can come out. Let's see, we've got one here. That's okay, I guess. Now, some of these carrots are actually a little bit too crazy in here. I'm gonna have to come in and cut some of these carrots out because they've grown in pretty tight. I didn't realize I had a couple of clusters in here I hadn't separated out yet. So I've got 2 carrots right here, right next to each other. And they're both getting pretty big, so I'm just gonna cut out one of them, just like so. These carrot greens will also go in the compost pile. I don't wanna have too many carrots right next to each other, and I don't wanna rip the carrots out of the ground, because if I rip them out of the ground, I might end up damaging the roots of the carrot that I'm trying to keep. Now I'm gonna take a little bit more off the tomato on the backside here. I know that you can't see the exact cuts that I'm making, but you should be able to see the bottom opening up here. Hopefully you can see through underneath this tomato plant. I'm actually gonna take this piece off too, just because it's growing through the plant and crashing into everything. Let's see. This is looking pretty decent. One of the problems is this tomato has some strange growth in here because the original top of the tomato plant was actually right here and it died back. And so it put out a couple of new side branches here, and so the bottom of this tomato plant is kind of a jumbled mess. But that looks better to me. Let's come back over here and we can take a look at what I'm doing. I'll pull the camera off of the stand here. Give you a closer look so you can see all the way down here. So it's still pretty dense in here, especially since this tomato has so many branches coming out so low. It's going to be a real struggle to open this one up. As much as the other tomatoes over here, I think are going to be a little bit easier, but we'll keep working on it. We'll keep working on them again as they get taller. We'll be able to come in and take more of those lower branches off, and we'll just keep pruning up to the best of our ability. Now, let's see here. This tomato in here is also a big mess. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that all too well, so maybe I'll come over to this one. This one is going to be interesting. Let me get a good angle here. And we will turn the camera up. There we go. Now on this tomato here, you can see that we've got a branch that is hanging out. This branch grew incredibly quickly. I don't even know if I really know where this thing came from. It just seems to pop out of nowhere. I'm going to be tying this up like so to keep it up off of the edge of the wall. Now I went out and got some of the green tape here. You can use twine to do this, but I'm going to use the green tape. Of course, I don't like to use a lot of plastic, but this is gentle on these branches. If you have twine or jute twine is totally fine as well. Oh, thank you very much, Norma. Appreciate that. And yeah, the tomato cages are very sturdy. They're nice tomato cages. A lot of these are pretty old. Now I'm going to take a piece here. Let's see. I'm probably going to tie this up here. Let's see, that'd probably be good right there. You know, one thing is if I take a piece of this off and it's a little bit too short, that's okay. I can just use it in a different spot. I think that I'm going to tie down here first. Bring this up. Let's see. Right about there, so. Now, of course, I'm trying to do this with gloves on. That's not going to work. See, this is why I don't wear gloves. Gloves just get in my way. Except for that time that I cut a piece of my finger off. That one time I wished I had gloves. All right. we've got this tied up like so. That'll work for me. Hopefully you were able to see that. Now that I've got this tied up in here, let me make sure you can see what I'm doing. Oh God, I'm too far over. Let's turn this. There we go. Okay. Now that I've got this piece tied up, I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut some of these lower branches off like we did on the other side to open this up and allow some air through. Let's see. Here we go. Let's take this one off to there. I've got some more pieces back here. And I think that's looking pretty good. I can see straight through the other side. Let me get the camera here and we can take a look and see what I just did. So you can see right through here. I can now see through to the other side of this plant. I could come in and cut a little bit more back. You know, I've got this little piece here that's eventually going to grow out pretty big there, so I'll just go ahead and cut that preemptively. Let's get that out. Whoop. And yeah, jute twine also works for this. I probably should have just used the jute, but I'm gonna use this stuff up while I've got it. Of course, I've got a whole bunch of jute too. Now, while we're down here, you can see everything I have going on underneath this tomato plant. We've got our shallots down here, which of course are going to help confuse a lot of the tomato pests. Of course, you know we have our marigolds in here, which also help to keep tomato pests away. We have carrots. Carrots are looking pretty nice, and actually the tomatoes protect the carrots from the carrot fly, because the carrot fly does not like the scent of tomatoes. Now, these carrots under here, underneath the tomato plant, are getting shaded out so much now that they're not growing as fast as the ones out here on the edge, but we'll still get some little carrots out of that. They're not going to be too big, but they'll still be good. You know, one thing nice about the carrots in here and the tomatoes is that they occupy different strata or different parts of the soil in here. So if we were able to look through this and see how the roots move through the soil, we'd be able to see that our shallots, our carrots, and our tomatoes occupy different layers and don't fight with each other. In fact, they're able to grow right next to each other with no problems. Ooh, nice comment in the chat. Since I found an assassin bug, wheel bug on my plants, I always wear gloves now. yeah, assassin bugs are they can be, well, it's right there in the name, right? They're little assassins. So I have to show off this bee over here because he came by to say hello. Now, this basil needs to be trimmed back a little bit too. So let me grab the camera stand and we'll get set up over here. And let's cut this back really quick. Now, I'm not going to do as much on this one. This one's not competing with this tomato as badly. But I'm going to come down and just cut a couple of these back. Let's take this piece out. Oh my goodness, this one smells so good. I love the smell of this African basil. It has a spicy scent to it. Almost smells a little bit like clove. And it's just so profuse when I come in here and cut it and mess around with it. Wonderful scent. You know, I really should be saving all of this basil that I'm cutting out. I should be cooking with it, but you know, all of these nutrients, even if I just put them in the compost pile, you know, they're going to be going back into the ground and helping out the plants. So it's okay to put it in the compost pile. Nothing wrong with that. Now that looks pretty good to me. I think that you can see that we've got some space between the tomato and the basil now so that we get a little bit of airflow through there. Now, these leaves on this side on the tomato plant aren't too bad. I don't want to do a whole lot in here, but I will trim back a little bit just to get some of these tomato leaves out of the carrots. This leaf isn't doing too much down here. I can take that out. You know, I actually don't want to cut too much down here. This piece isn't doing much of anything, so we can take that out. In fact, this is actually touching the soil, so that didn't need to be in there. Looks like I have some low tomato branches down here as well on the other side. I know you probably can't see this. I'm going to make a little cut in here. In fact, this piece has something going on it. That's not too good. Not sure what's going on there. I'll have to get a close look at that and see if I can figure out what's going on with that. Might be something I want to investigate. And in fact, you know, that's a big part of this pruning, is coming in and finding stuff like this and investigating to see what's going on with my plants. This is part of the pest patrol. Good idea to figure out what's going on here. Sorry, I know that camera keeps switching back and forth. I'm gonna have to go into my settings and figure out if I can stop that from switching back and forth so fast. Okay, let's see. Now I'm gonna sneak around to the other side. You'll probably see me sort of through here a little bit. Let's see. I've got just a couple more leaves on this side that need to be trimmed out. Actually, I do see some insect activity back here. Not sure what kind of insects these are. It looks like we've got some little gnat type insects in here. Doesn't look like anything that I'm worried about. They're very, very small. They're probably just hanging out in the shade back here. A couple more leaves I'm going to snip out just to open up the airflow in here a little bit more. And that looks pretty good to me, actually. I don't think I'll... Oh, no, one more. There. Now, I think that looks pretty good through here. Of course, I'll come through and I'll trim out a little bit in the upper portion of the plants as well at some point in time. Let me go ahead and take the camera here. Again, give you a little bit of a closer look at what's going on. More lizards, please, Diane says. Okay, I'll try to find more lizards. Now, I want to come down here and show you. You can see how much I cleared down here. So I can see straight through to the other side of the plant now. Of course, it's very dense up here, and I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure that the air can blow through underneath the plant. This is going to help prevent fungal infections. This is going to help prevent insects from crawling up into the plant as easily. This is going to keep the plants healthier. You have to make sure that you do this when you have a polyculture like this, because the polyculture, of course, is extremely dense, and so we don't have as good airflow as we would if we just had the tomatoes in here on their own. Let's see here. I think this is looking pretty good. Oh boy, how is it already 6:10? Goodness. Where did the time go? Now, we can take a peek in here and see what's going on with the worms, since we had that question. I actually have not been putting food on this side since the worms completely vanished. Since the worms have little tunnels in here and they can go in and out, I figured that they might come back in and use this as bedding. But I'm still not seeing any worms back inside here. Of course, since I don't have food in here actively now, I doubt they're going to show up on this side. I guess I need to start putting some food in here again. Try to attract them back into the bins. But I don't want to put food in here and just have it rot. I know that there is enough greenery and leaves underneath the soil here to keep those worms fed for quite some time, so I'm probably going to hold off at least a little bit before I start putting food back in here again. Now the last tomato that I need to prune up is this one here, and I think I'm going to try to hold the camera to give you a better view of this while I'm pruning it. Bear with me, we'll see if I can do this. Let me grab my pruners. We're going in, people. Plant surgery. This is what you came here to see, right? All right. Now, this plant, this tomato also died back. You can see in here the base of the plant, the original top of the plant was right around in here. It died back and it branched out in a couple of different directions from here. So now I've got these low branches in here that I can't completely remove without damaging the plant. So I just have to do the best that I can coming in here and cleaning this out. So we'll take that out there. Anything that's laying down on the ground like this, so you can see that this leaf in here, if I can get on here and not cut the wire, that's laying on the ground, so I don't want that in there. Want to remove anything that is directly touching soil. This one is pretty low as well, so we'll come in and trim that back. And then some of this craziness in here, like this piece here, I'm going to remove just so that I can open up, get a little bit more airflow in here. Got another piece right here. Now these are not fruiting branches. The branches that I'm removing in here are non-fruiting. You can tell which ones are the fruiting branches because they have fruit on them. Was that a joke? No, it wasn't a joke. It's the truth. So if you ever see on a tomato plant, if you take a look like here, for instance, you can see that we have our little stem that comes out that has the flowers and the fruit on it. We have another piece that comes up, and then we have this other piece that comes out to the side. Now, this is not fruiting. This is just going to act like a solar panel. It's going to collect energy for the plant. So these, you can come in and trim them out. But I don't like to do that all that often, except for at the bottom of the tomato plant. A lot of people go through their tomatoes and they really prune the heck out of them. I mean, they trim them all up. I don't think that's necessary. When you prune tomatoes the way you hear people say you're supposed to, you will get larger tomatoes, but oftentimes you won't get as many tomatoes. I've actually found that the tomatoes do much better if you prune out the bottom down here and then just kind of let them do their own thing. Now this tomato, almost all the way down on the ground down here, it probably is going to be laying on the ground by the time it ripens. But I'm just going to have to keep an eye on it. Oh, look, we've got, I didn't even notice that one. In fact, we've got another right in here. Oops. Oh, we do have a lot of tomatoes coming in. Oh, look, another one right up here. Look at that. Right along with these flowers. Gonna have a lot of tomatoes this year. Lot of tomatoes. All right, oh, more lizards. Here we go, Diane. There's your lizard. Hello. Why are you running away? Diane has irrefutable proof now that I am a child. Diane wants me to share the lizards. I don't know, Diane. I'm not sure if I'm legally allowed to transport those. Ha ha ha. That was a joke, by the way. Now, I'm pretty happy with how I've pruned these up. As I said before, I don't do a lot to my tomatoes. Again, I just wanted to bring back the basil here. Wanted to open this up a little bit. I'll probably come in and actually, you know what, I think I'm gonna take this branch off here as well, just to make a little bit more space to let the air flow through here. This is all going to be grown back together, probably by next week. In fact, I'm willing to bet, this is probably going to be grown up another 6 inches, and I'm willing to bet these will be all fused together again, like what we have in here with our basil and our tomatoes. Now, I probably should trim in here a little bit, but you know what? The pollinators are so happy with this basil right here. I'm gonna leave all of this alone. Diane says, I always knew you were an adult child. What's that supposed to mean? Well, I think I lost you for a second there. Are you all still there? Do I have you back, or have I fizzled out? Uh-oh. Oh, there. Good, I'm still here. Sorry about that. I think I hit a bad spot. All right. Now, let me see. It is 6:17 right now. We've got a couple of minutes left here, and I didn't want to spend all of my time on the tomatoes here. I'm trying to remember what else I promised you. Now, I did talk about garlic, and I wanted to show off. I've got this garlic that I picked up at Armstrong's. This is old garlic. This really should have been planted last fall. Now, I just bought this. I think they must have had this sitting around in the store since last fall. I'm going to be planting this in my yard because cloves are already starting to get a little bit dry. Some of them are getting a little bit mushy. That's not good, by the way. So I'll be separating these out and I'll be planting them around the yard, but this is not the right time to plant garlic in California, and I'm not going to get bulbs off of these. As a matter of fact, garlic really needs to be planted around October. November is a really good time. You want to have the cool season for them to develop that nice bulb. In fact, right around now is usually the time that we're getting towards the harvest period, depending on the type of garlic that you're growing. But since these cloves are not going to survive long enough for me to plant them at the right time, I'm just going to pop them into the ground around the yard and use them as a pest deterrent, because of course garlic is an allium, and it produces these sulfur compounds that help to keep away a lot of the pests that get into things like your tomato plants. So I'll be separating these out and I'll be spreading the love around the yard. Honestly, they're probably only going to grow for a couple of months, and I'm willing to bet they're going to die. We'll see. I'll be pleasantly surprised if they continue growing and turn into something, but chances are that's not going to happen. Now, I also promised I would show you the next log for our log project. So, as you know, we finished the log project over here. This is doing okay. This is actually a little sad in here. I think I waited too long to plant these. These were in their pots for a while, but they're not doing too bad here. Could keep an eye on those. Now, this log is going to be the next that I'm going to start carving out. And in fact, next week, I'll get this all planed and started up. And at the end of our next live stream, I'll show you the process of getting this primed to be carved out. Now, let's see here. Was there anything else that I promised you today? I'm trying to remember. Promised the tomatoes, I promised the garlic, I promised the log. Last week I did promise to show you our, now I'm gonna blank, the chayote. Well, remember when I said the chayote wasn't looking so hot? I was concerned because it came from the refrigerated section and I thought they might have frozen it. Well, whoa. That is not looking so good. That's pretty gross. So I don't think that chayote's going to make it. The other one doesn't look too much better, but I pulled it out of the pot to look at the other side, and lo and behold, it actually had some roots growing out. Now, the roots had not really penetrated into the soil yet, but as long as that seed inside there produces a root and goes down, there's still the chance that it will produce its shoot and start growing out, and then we can plant it up. But we'll see what happens with this. I'm not going to hold my breath on these chayote. I'm hoping to try to get some fresh chayote. I'm going to see if I can buy a plant from somebody because it's really hard to find chayote that is fresh in our area unless you go to the farmer's market. But anywho, we'll see what we can get out of these. Now, I did want to show off our little peppers here. Check out the jalapeno. Look at how good this is doing, all the little jalapenos we have on here. And lots more flowers coming in too. Happy little plant. Doing good. Now, I think we only have about 5 minutes left here, so I wanted to spend the last couple of minutes seeing if anybody had any questions, either about the yard or your own gardens. Anybody have anything interesting going on in their gardens? What's going on over there? In the meantime, while I wait for your questions, take a look at the grape. This is our, I keep wanting to say cotton candy, but it's the lollipop grape. I've never tried this one before, but they're coming in nice. Got some little clusters of grapes in here. Pretty awesome. Ooh-wee, look at that. No questions, huh? It's a no question kind of a day. Now I'm going to start picking up all of our clippings here. Woo! Got lots of piles of clippings. And we'll start putting them all together here. Got another pile over here. Let's see, and I think I've got one more pile over on this side. I think I had a couple of clippings, yeah, right down here. Now, this is all perfectly healthy. There's no disease on any of this. So this can all go in the compost pile. Now, normally I'd cut it up a bit, but since I only have 2 hands, I'm just going to sprinkle this on the compost pile in here. We need some more greens in here. I'll probably come back later and chop this up a bit. Woo! We got some gnats in here today. That's funny, I tell you, this pile changes from day to day, the kinds of things that we find in here. Got some gnats. I probably need to put another layer of brown on top, I guess some leaves. Let's see, Cherry said fruit trees to be delivered in June. Oh, very nice, Cherry. What kind of trees are you getting delivered? I'll show you all for the last little bit here the trees that we've got. The persimmon is still holding up. It still has that damage from early season. It has new growth coming out, so it does have some new leaves, as you can see. But it's going to carry this damage for the rest of the season from early on. Of course, I already showed the plum is doing great. I mean, you can see I'd cut this all the way back to here, and this piece was only about 1 inch long, and you can see how far it's grown. And then we have the peach. Oh God, the peach. And look, it has a leaf. Now, more of the buds are actually waking up. If you come in, you can see that the buds are in fact swelling, so we are going to get more buds coming out. Again, you know, I was really harsh on this when I cut it back as far as I did, so it's going to take some time, but it will push more buds out. And as you can see, it isn't dead, it is still alive, and it'll come back. Of course, this peach is on the south end of the trees, and I want this to be the smallest of the 3 trees so that these trees can get enough sunlight on the backside. So if I stunted this, that's okay, because actually I want to stunt that peach. That's probably one of the most aggressive plants I have in the trio. Maria asked if my parents have a greenhouse. No, there's no greenhouse here, just a regular house. That was a dumb joke. Oh, very nice. So Sherry is getting a Fuji apple, a plum combo, and peach trio. Very nice. Very, very nice, Sherry. That's exciting. You'll have to let me know how those are when they come in. Alrighty, everybody. Now we're pretty much at the end of our time here. Does anyone have any final questions, thoughts, anything that they would like to share before we part ways today? One more look at these lovely tomatoes. All the flowers. There's so many tomato flowers in here. They're just all over the place. Look at that. Cluster after cluster after cluster. Oh, you're very welcome, Yolanda. Oh, my dad's got jokes. My dad says it's a brown house. And he's right, because he is, in fact, Jonathan Brown. Thank you very much, Diana. Alrighty, everybody. Well, I think that's all I had planned for today. I hope you all had a good time. I will see most of you in class sometime this week, so stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Sandy. See you on Wednesday. See you tomorrow, Diane. See you on Friday, Yolanda. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Stay cool. It's going to be a warm one the next couple of days. Ooh, look at that.